our bucks. That is Smokin' and Loki. Smokin' will be 2 years old this spring. Loki will be a year old this spring. This little guy was able to service 2 of our does as early as 4 months old. And that's Hank. Hank is a wether. He's our companion. We had only planned on having 1 buck, but Smokin' came along, and he kind of sealed the deal on having 2 bucks. He's a good boy. This is the back area, coming into the buck pen that I was just in. This is a separate pen that we built for the baby goats. Obviously, it's not in use right now. Our hay shed. We can fit a ton of hay easily in here. Pallets for future use. We have another pen or 2 that we are going to be building. It'll go right here and come across this way. It'll house doelings, because I don't want the doelings next to the bucks when it's time to wean. Apple trees. We have 1 Fuji and 2 Honeycrisp. And so begins our garden. The garden runs to that shed right there. We have berries where the green grass is over there. Right there. I have marionberries and raspberries, and then all the rest is garden area. It's roughly about 2,000 square feet, 1,800 square feet, maybe a little bit bigger. The chicken coop. This pen right here is the small coop. There's nothing housed in there right now. We have a water runoff issue that makes it really, really soupy in there in the run, and I just didn't want any of the chickens in there. I'll be using that this summer as a broody pen. I'll put all my broodies in here, but you can see the water comes off the roof and it just makes a big mess. It's really yucky. Some of those pallets are going to be used to build a pig pen. The pig pen is going to come right here and come across here. So all of this area in here is going to be the pig pen. We haven't decided fully yet whether we are going to pour a slab of concrete or he's going to bring the tractor in and just clean all this rock. Not completely out, but level it all out and just let him have that. It'll be in the summertime, so I'm not too worried about too much of a yucky, muddy mess issue. My biggest issue is the water runoff, the drainage that'll come out here in the walkway. So a few things that we need to decide on. If anybody has any recommendations, we would love to hear them. You saw that earlier. That is one of the other doors to go into the garden. Right now I'm letting the chickens in there. They're kind of keeping it cleaned up for us, helping us fertilize it. We've been throwing all of the spent hay from the goats, the fouled hay and whatnot in there. And the chicken cleanup, coop cleanouts. That all has been coming in here, and we're just letting the chickens work it into the ground. I love my garden. It is lovely. I'll try, if I can figure out the editing tools, I'll try and add pictures of our garden, what it looks like in the spring. Just a real quick shout out to the husband. He asked me one year what I wanted for my birthday. And I told him I wanted a 6-foot fence. One that we could drive through if we needed to, but sturdy enough that I could move. Jeff's a welder by trade, and so he built me a fence. Nice big wheel on it. It's so easy for me to move. I have back problems and can't give a whole lot of effort into pushing and pulling on stuff, so that really worked. I love it. Keeps the critters in, keeps the critters out. It works. It separates the chicken and buck yard from the goat yard. Of course, the green grass is always greener on the other side. We had pigs. We had cooney pigs, and while they didn't root, of course, their heavy-footedness destroyed this and killed the grass. We reseeded and it grew back, and then we let the chickens out. I couldn't stand for them to be in their little pen any longer. Through the winter, there was no reason to not let them out, let them free range and eat the bugs and help us in the garden. So this will all come back this spring. You'll see a huge improvement. It's my greenhouse. I love my greenhouse. May not look like much, but it has served its purpose for 5 or 6 years. The only things I don't start is corn and potatoes and onions. I buy onion bulbs, but everything else gets started in the greenhouse. I even grow fodder for the animals. That's sprouted grain, either wheat or barley. Not doing it right now. It gets too cold at night, and my greenhouse is unheated. So right now it's dormant, but it's January, so we're going to be kicking into gear here in a few months. The girls are standing in front of my milk room. Just a little addition we built onto the kidding pens to house the stanchion and a place where I could go in and be out of the elements and milk. They love this room. It's the only room they get grain. So it works. I love it, I love it, I love it. Stanchion Jeff built. And yes, those are ropes. One of my goats, the one in the front, she was a first freshener last year and refused to stand still for me, so doing all my research, and the hobbles didn't work for her. So he put a few eye hooks in and attached some ropes, and it was real easy. It doesn't hurt her, just keeps her legs immobile. And yes, that's fur. We did a semi-dairy clip on Little Miss Thing over here. That's Kalani. We did a dairy clip just so I can kind of get a better look at her udder. It's winter time, and she's got quite a bit of hair back there, so she's getting close enough. I need to be able to see her udder every day. Best judge of when she freshens is her udder. So these are my birthing sheds. One is open, one is not, because we have decided to raise, yes, Jeff built this too. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I love it. Anyways, we have decided to raise Bielefelders. They are a dual-purpose chicken that can be sexed at hatching, so we'll know who is the hen, who is the rooster. Enjoying their heat lamp, and they're on that little platform because we had a mouse, and so there's a trap up underneath that platform. The chicks can't get to the trap, but the mouse can, so we'll see if we catch it. I also have more of those in the incubator due to hatch. They go into lockdown on Monday, so hopefully you guys will be along for that. This is the main goat shed. There's nothing in this right now because that wire needs to be changed. We just put some old fencing wire up, and of course the goats have tore it up, but the frame is good, and we'll get some hog panel or something and reuse it, because this is probably where Kalani's going to give birth, and she needs a hay feeder in here. She'll be left in here for a few days with her babies. And this is my main area. I've got a sink. I keep most of the feed out here. I feed my girls alfalfa pellets. And there's hay under the tarp, so we do have a couple leaks. New roof this year, yay yes. And just keep all of my equipment and supplies over here in the corner.